We're up way too early this morning because we are on an early entry mission at Epcot. We're going to find out what is the fastest way to ride the 3 most popular early entry attractions. We're going to split up into teams and settle this once and for all. Let's go do it. Hi-ho everybody, this is Rob with your Scouts coming to you from All-Star Music Resort. We are actually hopping on the bus right now to head to early entry. The buses tend to arrive at the resorts an hour before early entry begins, but I always say get here even earlier than that because right now we're an hour and 15 minutes before it starts and our bus is already here. Let's hop on board and head to Epcot. So we actually arrived at Epcot an hour before early entry begins, and there were other buses pulling in. The earliest I've ever seen a bus arrive at a resort was 2 hours before early entry started. That was when we were staying over at Saratoga Springs. This was still a pretty great start on the day. There's almost no one in front of us here at the tap-in points. So the way early entry works here at Epcot, they'll initially start tapping everyone in, and they'll tap in everyone, whether you have early entry or not. Once you get inside, right there in front of Spaceship Earth, they're gonna have a line forming, and they'll tap everyone who has early entry to make sure that they're qualified, and then they'll be sort of separated off into their own area. When it's time, they'll let all of those folks into the park. So today's mission is to find out, with Test Track now closed and Guardians of the Galaxy still on a virtual queue, that leaves the 3 most popular attractions for early entry here at Epcot as Soarin', Remy, and Frozen. And our goal is to find out, if you're coming here from the front of the park, which of those attractions should you start with? Now, if you're coming in from the back, from the International Gateway, we made a whole video about that, and it's definite you want to start with Remy because it's right there. You're going to have a huge jump on everyone coming in from this side. So for us, the question is, should we start with Soarin' or Frozen? Erick is going to go his own way. He's going to head towards Frozen, which is probably the smart pick. That's definitely the more popular of these 2 attractions. I'm, however, going to start with Soarin' because Soarin' would be the first attraction that you would come to. So I'm going to start there. I think there's an outside chance, actually, that my strategy might be faster, and here's the reason why. Lots of folks will go to do Frozen as their first ride for early entry. But then once they're done with that attraction, they're going to move on probably to Remy or back up to the front of the park. And there's not other rides that are near Frozen. So there's not a lot of people who are going to finish their first ride and then just sort of stroll over to Frozen. So there's a chance that we might get there at just the right time and have a very short wait for both of our first early entry attractions. But there's only one way to find out. Let's get tapped in and start our early entry mission. So we're here now to the right of Spaceship Earth. This is usually where they corral folks. They've set up 2 lines. They're both going to be for early entry. You could also come through this line if you had an early breakfast reservation. Say you had reservations over at Garden Grill before the park was going to open. You could show that reservation here and get into the park early for that as well. For right now, though, we're just going to wait for them to start tapping folks in at this next checkpoint, and then they'll let people sort of split off. If you're planning to go to Frozen, probably they'll have you in one direction. If you're planning to go do Mission Space, you go in another direction. So they will have kind of little corral points. So for us, we're heading over to the land. Erick is heading into World Showcase. I'm guessing we're going to end up at different corral points, but we're going to find out. So it definitely seemed like most folks were heading over to Frozen for their first attraction, but for me, I find it's best when everyone's zigging, you should probably zag. Take a different path because you'll usually get more done that way. There's definitely a small crowd of zaggers over this way. I'm guessing we're probably all headed to the same spot, Soarin'. It's definitely the most popular attraction in this area of the park. Until Test Track opens back up, another one you might want to consider is Mission Space. That one has become very popular with Test Track down because it's the only thrill ride other than Guardians that you can get to during early entry. If you have a really early boarding group for Guardians, think like 1 to 10 or so, you can sometimes get called during early entry. So it can be helpful to be over there in World Discovery if you have a really early boarding group, because you could maybe get a jump on everyone else and get on Guardians a little bit early as well. For us, we were not so lucky today. We're here on actually the final day of Food and Wine, and it is a crazy busy day. We were getting that boarding group right at 7 o'clock on the dot, and we got like 81 this morning. So a lot of people are going to be in Epcot today. Right now, it's just after 8 o'clock. The park opens at 9, so that means early entry begins at 8:30. They're going to hold us here at this corral point in front of the Land Pavilion until it hits 8:30, and then we'll be allowed to head into whatever first attraction we want to start with. Whenever we do these early entry videos, a lot of people say in the comments, Rob, you're saving time waiting in line, but you're going to spend that same amount of time waiting for the park to open. That is true. However, if you're starting with Soarin', you don't really need to be here this early. So we've been here for 15 minutes now, and there's still almost no one over here. It's a different story if you're going to start with Remy or Frozen. There's going to be a ton of people going over there. And so if you're not among the first folks here for early entry, you're still going to be pretty far back in those lines. The wait times for the most popular attractions here at Disney World can easily jump up to 30, 45, sometimes even an hour or more during the early entry period. So for really popular attractions, it is important to be here at the very beginning when they start tapping folks in. But that's another great reason to do the strategy that I'm doing today, because we're going to start with Soarin'. We technically could have strolled in here right before early entry was going to start, say maybe like around 8:15, and been totally fine and be on the first boarding for Soarin'. Woo! Thank you. Have a great day. So we're here at the entrance to the attraction. It's going to be about 5 to 10 minutes, they said, before this one's going to get going. I'm hoping that Erick is also getting a little bit of a delay over at Frozen, but I guess we'll have to go find out. Let's check out what's going on with Erick. One of the reasons I'm excited about riding Soarin' this morning is because there's actually a brand new ending. They redid the Eiffel Tower scene. If you've ever sat on the edges and watched the Eiffel Tower scene here at Soarin', you know the Eiffel Tower was kind of bending to the right, but now they've refilmed it so that bending problem should be solved no matter where you're sitting, and they've updated the flyover of Epcot. So I'm really excited to check that out. We are lined up here about to ride the first Soarin' ride of the day, and it sounds like Erick is backed up a little bit in front of Frozen. Let's go check in and see what's happening. Our first ride is down. Soarin checked off the list, and man, what an exhilarating start to the day. I love Soarin as my first ride. The question is, was it the right strategy? I'm not sure what's going on with Erick, but our goal is now to get over to Frozen before the park opens. So right now, we've got about 8 minutes left before all of the day guests are able to come into the park. If we can get to Frozen before those folks get in, we're definitely gonna have a much shorter wait than we would otherwise. Let's make a beeline for World Showcase and head to Norway. As we head into World Showcase, I did check the app just to look at the wait times and make sure I wanted to go to Norway instead of France. Remy is posted at a 50-minute wait right now. Frozen is still showing only 45. Only 45, I say. That's still a really long wait. I think both of those attractions are gonna jump up in pretty equal measure, so I'm gonna stick with my original plan. The wait time is a little bit shorter, so we're gonna stick to Frozen as ride number 2. And let's hope we've made the right decision. Well, this is definitely not what we wanted to see as we approach Norway. There is a massive line coming out of Frozen Ever After. Apparently they had about a 10-minute delay this morning. We, of course, had a 5 or 6 minute delay over at Soarin. That could happen, but I think because of that delay, it's caused this line to not really be as far along as I think it should be. Also, just because it's a very busy day. Today is kind of worst case scenario because it is the last day of the Food and Wine Festival. Tons of locals are here today, as well as people who plan their vacation to be able to do both Food and Wine and Festival of the Holidays, which starts later this week. So it seems that Erick is now stuck in a very similar line to this one over at Remy. It is 9:35, so the park has now been open for 35 minutes and we are about to board our second ride of the day. I'm a little bit nervous about the fact that after Erick finishes Remy, he's only gonna have Soarin left, which is typically a shorter wait than either of these two attractions. But for right now, I'm just gonna make like Elsa and let it go. Let's go ride Frozen Ever After. And we exit through the gift shop, like at the end of every respectable Disney World ride. That was adorable, but now it is time to get down to business. We've got one last ride to do. I haven't heard from Erick. I'm not sure where he's at. I'm guessing he's still in line for Remy, and we're about to be in line behind him. That is, of course, on the other end of World Showcase. So we have tested this out before. It's actually a little bit faster to walk through Mexico at this point than it is to go towards China. I thought it was gonna be faster to go that way, but it's not. So we're gonna take a right, head back through Mexico, and on to France. It is 9:55 in the morning and we are finally joining the rat race here at Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. It is a posted 60-minute wait. The question is, where is Erick right now? Is Erick still in this line or is he already done and on his way to Soarin? I'm guessing you guys know because you're watching the video, but I don't know. Win or lose though, I feel really good about the morning that we're having. So we're less than an hour into park time now, and we've done 2 of the biggest attractions and we're in line for the 3rd. I should mention, because I am a single rider, I could go through the single rider queue right now. And that would be a very short wait. They just opened that up for this attraction, and from what I hear, it's actually a really good single rider option to use. There's some single riders, like over at Rock and Roller Coaster, for example, that aren't so great, just because they can only use the single rider queue when they have a party of 1 or an odd party, because each of those cars seats 2 people. But here on Remy, each row can seat like 3 people, so there's a good chance for the single rider queue to move a lot more quickly. By far though, the best single rider queue in Disney World is at Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, because each of those parties is a party of 6. So a lot of times they don't have an exact number of 6, quite frequently. So that single rider queue just clips along. But I'm not gonna cheat. We're not gonna use the single rider queue, even though we could. We're gonna wait in this line and see how long it takes to ride Remy. So I just checked in with Erick and let him know where we are right now. And he did not tell me where he is. He is not sharing that information. So I don't know. Is he still in this line, or is he already almost at Soarin and about to tell me that he won? I really don't know, and I'm kind of excited to find out. It is 10:30 and we are about to enter the inside area of the queue. I did just find out Erick has finished this attraction. He is on the way to Soarin. The question is, how long is that wait going to be at Soarin? Right now it's posted at 45 minutes. The bad news is, apparently, Erick got stuck on this ride a lot. It's been very touch and go, and the line is definitely moving way more slowly than normal. So I think they are having some issues today. Fingers crossed that they're going to get those issues sorted out so we can get on and off this ride before Erick wins this thing over at Soarin. That was a photo finish. Just as I was getting off of Remy, I got the text that Erick was boarding Soarin. We won. We got it done first, even though we didn't have to be here at the crack of dawn to do what we did. We could have arrived right before early entry began and had this exact same experience, where if you wanted to do Erick's method, which I should add is what most people do, you kind of have to be here crazy early. So not only do we finish faster, we save time that we would have spent early in the day, if we had just planned to do this strategy right from the beginning. It's important to note, however, if Soarin is not in your must-do list, then it probably does make sense to start with Frozen if you're coming in from the front of the park, at least until Test Track reopens. But if you really want to do all 3 of those attractions, I think start like we did. Don't worry about getting here crazy early and enjoy your early entry morning. When you think about it, it just makes sense to start with Soarin because it's right there as you're coming in before you get to anything else in World Showcase. But as you saw, Most people go straight into World Showcase to do Frozen or Remy. Sometimes, however, the thing that seems to make the most sense does, in fact, make the most sense. Well, I hope this early entry adventure was helpful to you, and I hope it helped you to plan your Epcot strategy when you come here to Disney World. If it did, help us out by giving this video a like, subscribing to our channel, and then ringing that bell. That way you'll be notified whenever videos like this come out. I also want to thank our Patreon family. Thank you all so much for supporting what we do here at Ear Scouts. If you'd like to join them and get access to exclusive bonus content, head on over to patreon.com/Ear Scouts. Until next time, don't forget to think happy thoughts, everybody. We'll see you again real soon.